Okay, gotta make a video, but on what? I'm feeling a little bit nostalgic. Let's check the Steam library. What do we got? Ooh, you have Undertale. I don't know what I could really say about it that hasn't already been said. Ooh, there's Gary's mod. Haven't played this game in 7 years. You know, even if I did, I wouldn't even know what to talk about. What else? Wait.
If you don't know what this game is, that's probably a good thing. This game had no business affecting the internet as much as it did. From dominating the YouTube scene, being the sexual awakening to many teenagers, and being a key player in Steam trying to remove sexual content from their store. On the surface, HuniePop is bejeweled with sexy anime ladies. But if we dive a little bit deeper, we find out that it's bejeweled with sexy anime ladies. How did this game get so big? Why was this game so popular? They allowed this on YouTube? Who did the Bite of 87? What was it about this game that the internet loved so much? HuniePop released January 19th, 2015 to really positive reviews, and it still gets really positive reviews. This puzzle dating sim is beloved by pretty much everyone that plays it. Back in 2015, when this game first came out, it took a few months to get picked up by the big YouTubers. One of the first was Jacksepticeye posting his first video on April 7th, 2015. Soon after, PewDiePie posted his first on May 2nd, 2015. Then Markiplier, when searching up HuniePop, is the very first person you see, posted his first video on August 17th, 2015. Then there was me, posting on Christmas Eve 2015. So what was so special about this game that it had all these gigantic YouTubers playing it? I mean, there's no beating around the bush here, it's a porn game. How did it get so big? Well, I think I have the reason why HuniePop was so popular. It's just a good game, which may raise some eyebrows, because there are many good games that don't get picked up by big YouTubers. Usually if there's a good game, then it gets good reviews, which in turn gets those YouTubers to play those games. Then many people see those YouTubers play those games, so they play it, and then they get their friends to play, and then it like keeps snowballing. So why this one? It doesn't seem that YouTuber friendly and wouldn't really be the game you tell your buddies to download. I think the reason is because it had everything going against it. Let's first start off with this. Think of all visual novels and puzzle games that are really good, but never hit that huge popularity. It's because while they may be fun to play, they are boring to watch. A visual novel is a novel. It's a picture book. While it may have been fun to be read a story on the floor at elementary school, that's not what you're really looking for on YouTube. And with puzzle games, the point is to solve the puzzle. But on YouTube, someone else is doing it for you, so it does lose some appeal. But I think one game that can help shed some light on how HuniePop got so popular is Doki Doki Literature Club. Doki Doki definitely stands out as it is a visual novel, and as I said earlier, visual novels don't really get popular. Now this isn't an analysis on Doki Doki, so I'll try to keep this brief. Doki Doki is a visual novel on the surface, but then you go to the Steam store page and then you see psychological horror in the tag, so you're like, okay, I have to see what this is about. So you start playing through and it's like just a normal visual novel, and then shit hits the fan. It seems like a cutesy high school visual novel for a while, but then there's that psychological horror. So after you're done with the game, you tell your friend to play it and just give them no context. When you hear about this game, there is a big mystery to it. Why would my friend tell me to play this visual novel with no context? Is that psychological horror? And then that cycle continues till everyone on the planet plays this game. So to recap for Doki Doki's popularity, there's an intrinsic mystery to this game with it seemingly being normal but having that psychological horror tag. It's the perfect game to share to your friends, and it's very unexpected. And to relate this back to HuniePop, the mystery is, why does my Steam friend have 20 hours on this porn game? It gets passed around by confronting your friend why he has it, and then they defend themselves. So it's like, no, it's actually like really good, dude, bro, trust me. And then the unexpected part is that it actually is a really good game. And before this video goes any further, a few things. I am not an incel. I have a girlfriend. I have a girlfriend that has played this game and enjoyed it, and this video is a fun video to not be taken too seriously. And the very last thing is, remember to like and subscribe, baby. HuniePop has all the makings of a good game. The puzzle aspect of the game is incredibly well done, with each girl having a unique preference and makes you play the game in a different way depending on who you're talking to. You customize the day gifts you bring, trying to craft the board in such a way that you can match the specific tiles for the most amount of points, trying to balance raising the affection meter and getting points, finding the right time to use date gifts, upgrading your stats in a good way, and the game actually being difficult sometimes. In addition to the genuinely good puzzle aspect, you have the dating sim portion, with very good art, amazing voice acting,
You're fucking loco! This is how I always cut your nasty ass hair!
a distinct roster of characters, and very unique dating sim mechanics. It culminates into a good game. Each of the girls have a very distinct personalities. When you are interacting with them, you have to act accordingly. And these interactions are one of the biggest draws of this game. The dialogue is hilarious. This game is incredibly self-aware. It is crude, dirty, racist, and pretty much anything offensive. I mean, just listen to Q describe some of these girls.
Asian chicks? Don't even get me started. I have like the worst case of yellow fever ever. Ever. Like a yellow plague. I love me some chocolate. A mega bitch.
To add to the self-awareness, all these girls represent a trope. Now, I'm not a porn historian, but I think most people can discern a lot of these tropes. The sexy teacher, the student, the shy girl, gamer, the porn star, the MILF, the flight attendant, the mega bitch. I think the fact that each character is put into their own distinct stereotype is great because every character feels so distinct from one another. And even though they're all just based on tropes, each character still has their quirks, which on top of the trope makes them feel pretty unique. Usually the quirks are being not white. Don't get me wrong. It's not like these characters were written by insert author who writes deep characters here, but they still exude personality. And to switch topics, I think the mechanics of the dating sim part are really unique. I think the aspect of getting text messages from the girls while you're out and about is cute. I think the food bar is really funny. If the girl you're talking to runs out of hunger, she refuses anything to do with you unless you feed her. And I think the mechanic of having two types of currency is good. You get Hunie for interacting with the girls, and you can get bonus Hunie if you actually pay attention to what they say. So then you can use that Hunie to increase your stats or buy certain items. And when you go on dates, it gives you Moonie, which lets you buy gifts and food, and all those things give you more Hunie, so they feed into each other very well. A very small thing that I think is cool is that the time of day matters as well. People are only available at certain times and certain days, and some activities can only be done at certain times. And sometimes some of the girls will be out of town, so you can't interact with them for a while. And a nice little touch is that Lola is out of town a lot because, like, you know, it's her job. And the last thing to say is that this game has really good music too. There are a lot of bangers in the soundtrack. Overall, it's just a solid puzzle dating sim game that's very offensive, but this is a retrospective after all, so let's go over everything that surrounded this game. Let's first tackle the negative reviews. Most of the complaints about this game are 1, it's too hard, which is fair. Some of the later levels are brutal, and 2, people who take this game way too seriously. There are many negative reviews about how this game is racist and homophobic, how the women are stereotypes. This game encourages lying to women by changing your personality, which sets a bad example to men who don't have dating experience, or that it doesn't have much content, which I would say are all very reasonable complaints, except the fact this is a $10 porn game. So it tries to be as offensive as possible. I mean, half the player base is probably playing with their non-dominant hand trying to solve the hardest puzzle of all time. I think it is silly to look at this game through that lens because at the end of the day, it's just porn. Also, if homophobic, then why it lets you be girl? Checkmate, liberal. The only somewhat valid critique that I saw about this game was that it was censored, which brings us to the next point. Steam 2018. Back in 2018, HuniePop and many other adult games received an email from Valve stating they had 2 weeks to censor their games or they would be taken off of Steam, which caught a lot of developers off guard because many of them have had their games on the store for years with no issue. This caused outrage among devs and users. There were riots in the streets. Boycotts for Valve were called. Everyone was grabbing their torches and pitchforks for this blatant violation of free speech, even though that's not how free speech works because it's a private company. They can do whatever they want. It set Steam users ablaze. During this fiasco, the HuniePop developer tweeted this: "Important notice. I received an email from Valve stating that HuniePop violates the rules and guidelines for pornographic content on Steam and will be removed from the store unless the game is updated to remove said content." So to comply with these never-before-seen policies, HuniePop started censoring their game. Despite the fact that it was already censored when it first came to Steam, the dev made a few revisions to make sure that HuniePop would not be removed, but almost as soon as those emails were sent out, Valve redacted their decision. Valve sent emails to the developers saying that they were re-reviewing their games to see if they actually violated guidelines. Then about a month later, Valve made an announcement that said they would allow anything on the Steam store as long as it wasn't illegal or straight up trolling. After that, there wasn't much news until a few months later when Valve rolled out the adult-only filter. What that did was allow Steam users to better control the games they see on their store page by giving more filters and such to the users, but what it did to developers is when the devs submitted a game that had violent and or sexual content, they had to provide a description of said explicit content. So it basically did nothing, just gave Steam users a better way to not see adult content and make it take longer for games to be added to Steam, which at the time still caused a big stir. People still claimed it violated freedom of speech, but then everyone forgot about it because that adults-only filter makes sense. If you don't want to see any adult content, you don't have to. And if you are potentially interested in adult content, you're able to read what makes this game adult without having to actually see it, which I think is very fair. It's also helpful to the average user, because I don't know about y'all, but occasionally I peruse through the Steam store, especially right now because the Steam summer sale's going on, but every once in a while I'm scrolling through, I'll just see like a giant furry penis. And despite me talking about HuniePop, that is not something I want to see at 11 a.m. And assuming the average user doesn't want to see furry fuda on their store page, they can turn on a filter to not see those types of games, but will still be able to see games like GTA and such. So I think it turned out okay. Well, that's actually it, I think. I could talk about the history it had on YouTube and how it's kind of crazy that it was allowed, but that's pretty easy. YouTube helped the game gain a lot of popularity because of the offensive humor and the absurdity of the game, and the fact it was 2015, still 2 years away from the adpocalypse, it was totally chill. Offensive content in general was big around 2015. While full-on nudity wasn't necessarily allowed, everything else was kinda free game. I mean, as long as it's presented as educational, I'm sure anyone can post an uncensored playthrough today. There are crazier things on this platform. Alright, thank you all for watching. I hope this video turns out good. I came up with this idea while I was sitting on the couch drinking my morning coffee while watching One Piece, so it kinda came out of nowhere. It's as if the Lord himself whispered this idea into my ear. Anyway, if you guys like these videos, let me know if there's anything you want me to talk about. You guys seem to like the last video as it did pretty well, and this video is kinda similar to that one. So I think you guys like these types of videos. And I keep on rambling, so thank you all so much for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, hit that bell. I also stream on this YouTube channel, so stop by and say hi. And that's it. Alright, see you in the next one. Goodbye.